okay in their browser, and you can communicate with them directly. That's reflected in the analytics that PushOwl provides their brands, and it's a great tool to get going ahead of the holiday season. Now, got Kunal in Spotlight here for me, and we'll let him take it away.
All right. Hey, good morning, everyone. Really glad to be here, and thanks, Blair, for that introduction. Really excited to be a part of this amazing group of people who are going to be talking here over the next 3 weeks or 3 sessions, however you wish to see it. As Blair mentioned, I'm with PushOwl, and I want to talk to you today about what you could be doing for improving your card recovery strategies during this Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But let me start off with a quote, actually, just so we set the stage for what's to come. Rishika, I think I don't have access to screen sharing. Would it be possible to quickly get that?
Yep, just give us 1 second.
You should have it now.
Oh, sure. Let me check. Yeah, that works. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So as you can see, this is actually a quote by one of our longtime customers, Planet 54. They are a brand based in South Africa who do fast fashion. And during the pandemic, they have actually grown into doing a lot of, they've grown into other categories like the home furnishings, luxury fashion, and generally speaking, the FMCG sector. So I know this is a bit of a shameless plug, but I just want everyone to get the impact that push notifications can create for you, right? So just by a show of hands, how many of you have worked with push notifications before? You could just drop in reactions in the chat. Oh, let's we have a couple. Okay, so just to set the stage, right? What we are talking about basically is web push notifications. So let me just quickly show you what they look like. You might be pretty familiar with them when if you have ever visited a website which asks you for permission to allow web push notifications, right? And you would end up seeing some notifications coming on your screen like this, with a couple of lines of text and an image to go along with it. So that's pretty much what web push notifications are. They are very, very similar to what you would be familiar with notifications you get on your mobile devices from the apps you have installed, right? So let's actually look at this in action. I'm just going to drop a link in chat for everyone. And you can actually head to this demo store and take a look yourself while I share my screen for the same link. So this is one of the dev stores that our team has set up. And typically when you go to a website which has web push notifications, you would see an opt-in which looks a little bit like this. It's asking me if you want to allow this website to show notifications. And you can also add a bit of a custom message over here on why should someone be subscribing to notifications from your store. And all it takes is just clicking this little button, allow over here. And that's pretty much it. You have become a subscriber. In fact, you guys can go ahead and subscribe to the store because I'll also be sending some notifications as we go along and actually show you. And you can see it on your devices on how the notifications look like and how the experience looks like. So that's all it took, right? And you might be thinking, okay, so why is this a relevant marketing channel for me during this Black Friday, Cyber Monday? So you would have seen that you must be getting a whole lot of visitors on your store, but not everyone actually gives you their email address or their personal information, right? So what do you do in such a case? So that's where this becomes a really important channel for both you as a merchant and for your potential customers, where they are, from a customer perspective, they're able to subscribe without having to give any personal information whatsoever. Because over 90% of the people who end up opting into push notifications are anonymous, which means you didn't have their email, you didn't have their SMS, and there's no way to reach them. So this is where push notifications as a channel really stands out from the rest of the pack for you to be able to reach out to these people. And the communication is really super easy to consume, right? Just a couple of lines of text and an image to go along with it. And for you as a merchant, if you have joined us today as a business owner, you see that this is like you'll see over the course of this demo that this is super easy to get like to set up and to send notifications. You don't have to worry about writing like really long copy as you might for an email. You don't have to worry about like timing a social media post for max impact or anything like that, right? And you can just get these people on board and be ready to target them whenever they come back to your website, or even if you see that they haven't been engaging with your content through other channels. So as I mentioned, you don't need their personal information. So how does this make a difference? You might be wondering. So as Rishika could help me out with a quick poll over here about how many, which channels do you actually use for recovering abandoned carts? And you can select as many of them as you would like. You might be seeing the poll in the chat. I'll just give it a few more seconds. Okay, Rishika, could we have the results? Awesome. So
Yes,
it looks like,
yeah. Sorry, I was just saying email seems to be.
Yeah, email seems to be a super popular choice here, with around half the audience also using SMS, and then another 30% using push notifications, which is really amazing to see. But for all the people who don't use push notifications, as I mentioned, this is, let's actually look at another brand who uses web push and see why they do it. Some of you here might have heard of this brand called Culture Kings. They are a super popular brand in the fashion industry, and they have even partnered up with NBA players and artists like A$AP Rocky. But putting the cultural significance aside for a moment, this brand has made about $180 million in 2020 in revenue last year. But just like every other brand, they have the same set of issues, right? They have a huge number of abandoned carts. And how they went about solving this issue was, of course, email, SMS, but they also added push notifications to the mix last year. And this is the kind of results that they have been seeing, right? There's been a 28% increase in the average order value. They have a pretty good click-through rate on their abandoned cart notifications, and they recovered 26,000 cards in 1 year alone. And that's a pretty big number for a brand like them. So let's look at how you can actually go about doing something similar on your end as well. So I hope everyone has subscribed to to the notification from the store if you're interested in just checking out a demo. And what you can do is there's a few products over here. You can just head over to any product page, add something to the cart, and just disappear from this website. That's all it takes. Now, this is the push all dashboard. And let's head over to abandoned cart recovery for a moment. So all it takes for you to set this up is just head over to Pushal, go to your abandoned cart recovery, and enable whichever reminders you would like to use. Set up the timings for when you would like these reminders to be received. And as you can see, my first one is set for 5 minutes. So 5 minutes after you have abandoned your cart, you should be getting the first notification. And this is the copy that you would be getting along with it. So I can just go in here to edit this to change something, to change this to something more relevant, let's say for BFCM. So I can probably say limited talks only during BFCM and get, let's say, 20% off till it lasts, something like that. And as you can see, while I was typing this out, everything on the right side with these device previews is changing. You can see how the notification is actually going to look on different devices. And the best part about this is that the image, which is going to be sent along with the notifications, is going to be automatically generated. So since I had added, I believe, these chocolate protein balls to my cart, I would actually be getting this product image along with my notification, depending on which device I subscribe from. So that's pretty much how it works. Any questions so far? And you can like drop them in the chat before we can move on to another topic.
Also, I think from a time check, we're probably sitting at about 5 minutes, just as an FYI.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the support, Roddy. This is definitely a no-brainer. It's just something that takes just a few minutes to set up, and it's going to keep on providing results for you in the background 24/7, right? Because when you don't have someone's email or SMS to reach out to them, being able to reach out through push notifications is going to be super impactful for you to increase your bottom line of how many cards you can end up recovering, not just during BFCM, but even all year round, right? But what do you do when someone hasn't even added something to their cart? So I believe people had even answered the question about what your conversion rate is of store visitors to buyers. And it seems like the majority of the population lies between 0 to 5%, right? That means over 95% of the people who are visiting your store are not even getting converted into a customer from you. So what can you do to reach out to these people again, right? So that's where I'd like to just share something like a case study with another brand called Planet of the Vapes. And let's look at the candle results they saw, right? So these guys are a pretty big brand when it comes to the vaping industry, and they're all about delivering a really great user experience. All their communications are aligned to re-engaging people and guiding people through the flow of being able to make the right purchase, which they would be interested in. But there was a gap in their communication, which was how do they go about converting people who have taken no action? And when we had launched browse abandonment as a feature and they started using it, the results they saw were even more insane than the ones that they were getting from their cart recovery, right? The 15% of people were clicking on their notifications, but the couple of stats that really amazed everyone was the amount of time someone ends up spending on the store once they click on the notification was 3 times more than any average session duration that they were seeing. And not just that, but the conversion rate from browse abandonment notifications was actually 2x of what their average conversion rate was across their store from all channels. That includes like email, SMS, push notifications, like the other card recovery notifications or campaigns and so on. So why does this work, right? As we saw earlier, someone could end up on the store, but in this case, if I hadn't, sorry, just give me a moment. If I hadn't added this product to my cart, so what would have happened? Nothing, right? I wouldn't have gotten into the abandoned cart recovery flow. So, sorry, just 1 second. Yeah, so I wouldn't have gotten into the abandoned cart recovery flow. So that's where having something like this becomes really helpful, where if someone is just coming to your store and leaving immediately, or even after checking out a few products, that's where they can actually end up end up seeing really good results from the browse abandonment flow. So let's again quickly look at how this works, which is very, very similar to what you have already seen with your browse abandonment, sorry, with your abandoned cart recovery. Again, very, very similar. Just you have a series of 3 reminders. You can set up the timings of when you would like these to be sent out. So let's say I want the first one to go out 30 minutes later after someone has just viewed a product page. And I can go ahead and edit this over here and make it something more customized for myself, or rather for my brand. So see your protein today, or I mean, you guys can probably write much better copy than I am. But yeah, that's basically how this goes, right? And just similar to the abandoned cart recovery flow, you can go in here and edit the images that are going to go in the notifications are going to be the same as the ones that you would end up that the person would have end up seeing over here for the product that they were actually viewing, or the product that they were actually interested in. So that's basically how the browse abandonment flow works. And the reason I'm actually bringing this up is because you want as many people to purchase from you as possible. Generally speaking, the flows, like people will be coming to your website. But not everyone would actually be interested in even adding something to their cart. So the sooner, like the further up the funnel that you're able to capture them into some kind of a flow, the more likely they are to come back to your website and potentially purchase from you, right? So what can happen over here is these 95% of people who are not even turning into a customer, they'll actually end up seeing this browse abandonment flow, and they might add something to the cart, but maybe they might not go ahead with the purchase. But hey, to capture that, we already have the abandoned cart recovery that we spoke of earlier. So that's basically how this works. Again, I'm just going to pause for a moment to just see if people have any questions here.
I think we're probably going to need to wrap this up if that's okay with you as well.
Yeah, no worries. So just like one more thing to go through, which is, as I mentioned, it's going to be it's going to be important for you to get as many people into the flow as possible. So we'll just go over like one final thing, which is actually sending a campaign. Because when you send out a campaign to your subscribers, people are more likely to come back to your store and purchase from you. So let's look at how easy it is to set up a new campaign, right? You just have to go to the dashboard and you just click on a new campaign over here, set up when you want this campaign to be sent out, along with what segment you would want it to go into. If you want to use any of the advanced options, you have the option to do so. And just having a title and copy over here. So probably something like, you guys can and probably have a couple of images to go along with your notification. So I'm just going to add a couple of images from my device. There we go. So as you can see, I have a different image for Windows and a different image for Android, and the same is reflected over here. These are a couple of my idiot dogs. And finally, you just have what page you would like people to go to in the primary link. So that's probably something like this. You might have a deal page for BFCM, or like a landing page for BFCM where you can lead people. And once you have set everything up to your liking, you can just go ahead, review all the settings once, and you are pretty much good to go and hit send on that campaign. So the advantage of this, again, is people will come to your store. They might be interested in some products, but not purchase. And then one of your flows for either browse abandonment or abandoned cart recovery is going to capture them and help you get more purchases. And on that note, I am just going to stop here. And yeah, if there's any questions, I'll be around in the chat. I have another one of my teammates in the chat to help answer anything. That's pretty much it. Blair, I guess that's over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Kunal, for that. I had a question that I was going to ask, but we are already running a bit behind, so I will just throw that in the Discord for everybody to see and hopefully get a great answer from you. Thanks so much, Kunal. Appreciate it. Cool. So next up, we've got Chris from Gorgeous. Many of you probably know Gorgeous. They are everywhere. Chris is a senior technology partner manager and is naturally an expert in customer support. He's a great fit for this session. We're thrilled to have him today. For anybody who hasn't heard of Gorgeous, they are one of the largest customer support solutions on Shopify. I think they're pretty unique in that kind of, in my opinion, from what I've seen, one of the two things that they kind of focus on is one, automating away as many of your most common questions as possible to free up your time, as well as kind of a focus on shifting customer support from a cost center into a profit center. You know, how can you use customer support as an opportunity to increase retention and generate more revenue? But I will let Chris tell you more about all of that. Take it away, Chris.
Perfect. Thanks so much for the intro, and really excited to be here today for the App Collective. One thing that I'm really excited about this event is just how product oriented it is. It's, you know, less fluff, less surface level stuff, and we're actually getting to showcase our products as technology vendors, which we don't always get to do. So I'm really excited to be here with you today, and thanks to the organizers for putting this on and for you tuning in. So as he said, I'm from Gorgeous, which is a customer support e-commerce help desk built for D2C brands like yourselves to make it really easy for you to communicate with your customers and deliver exceptional CX to keep them happy, but also to try to drive more sales. And so today I'm going to be giving you a quick overview of, you know, the current landscape of customer experience in modern e-com, where we're heading. And then I'm going to dive right into showing you an example of one of our brands, Hello Tushy, which is a bidet company, talk about how they're using Gorgeous in a great way. And then I'm going to get right into our product and give a little bit of a demo walkthrough. So we'll just jump right into it. And as always, feel free to post questions in the chat, and I'll make sure that we get those answered after. So quick intro to Gorgeous. I've already talked about who we are. We started in 2015 as a Shopify app, and we currently work with over 7,000 D2C brands, primarily based on Shopify and Shopify Plus. What I really love is we are an agent-powered help desk, meaning there's someone actually using our product on a day-to-day basis. We do have a heavy level of automation that we have baked into our product, but nonetheless, there's still a lot of agent-powered experiences happening. And right now, over 20,000 support agents use our platform every day, which I love. And so setting the stage for modern CX right now. And so I have a few data points here that really paint a picture of what the key ingredients are for exceptional CX in modern e-com. And what we say is there's two key ingredients, which are speed and automation. So how fast can you deliver the answers that your customers are asking for? This is both pre and post-purchase inquiries. And then the other key ingredient is personalization. So how able are you to deliver a seamless experience where you're really showcasing that you understand the customer, and then that is born from, you know, leveraging the data you have available for them. And so those are the two key ingredients that Gorgeous makes it really easy to do, basically giving you that dial capability where you can turn it to match your needs, speed and personalization. And so just to finish up on setting the stage, and then we'll jump right into specific examples. From a customer support standpoint, the key metrics that brands should be thinking about as it pertains to your customer experience is your first contact time. So how long does it take to actually acknowledge a customer's existence and their inquiry in the first place? Could be as simple as, hey, we've received your inquiry, we're looking into this as soon as possible. And then resolution time. So how long does it actually take for you to solve the problem at hand? And so these are two really important metrics that have a huge impact on both pre-sale opportunities. So if a customer hasn't made the purchase yet and they're engaging with you through live chat or SMS, for instance, it has a big impact on your conversion rates. And then also resolution time has a huge impact on, you know, your churn and your retention. Because if you're not able to respond to questions in a timely fashion, those customers are going to be long gone. So those are really important metrics that we track. And this is the sentiment that you're hearing from modern consumers. Nobody's listening. Brands aren't leveraging the data that they probably have on me to give me a seamless experience. And so you're typically seeing first contact times of 12+ hours and 17+ hour resolution times, which depending on your brand and depending on your size might be okay. But Ideally, we want to get these numbers down big time. And so the manifestation of slow response times and the lack of personalization is high service costs. You're typically having to staff up your agent team, which is not ideal. You're obviously missing out on sales opportunities, and it's impacting your churn because you're not delivering that great experience. And so final slide I have here, and then I'll jump into some examples, is what we've done is we've gamified the customer support performance of our 7,000 plus DTC brands who use Gorgias into 5 tiers, 5 being exceptional. And this is ultimately, we're trying to funnel our customers to this level, both through coaching them, obviously, but more importantly, and driving our product roadmap to release new features that will make it easy to do. So when we think about what metrics are associated with a brand that's delivering what we deem exceptional, the key metrics are having a low first response time. So you're having a first response time, say under 20, 30 minutes. That's really important. Have a resolution time around 1 hour. These numbers are associated with what you expect from, say, Amazon, which, say what you want about Amazon, one thing that they're known for is having a gold standard customer service. And so these are the numbers you should be striving for. I imagine brands with us might be saying that their first response time resolution times are around the 12 to 24-hour mark, which is totally fine. But as you scale, it's really important to invest into building out your CS operation so you can start getting towards these types of numbers, and it absolutely is possible. How you can do that, what are the levers you have to try to achieve these types of numbers? So you should be automating as much as possible. So common inquiries like, where is my order? Obviously, they're important to the consumer, but they actually don't have a significant impact on retention and obviously not conversion rates. And so it's really important that you set up your CS process through Gorgias or another tool to basically deflect or automate the responses to those questions as seamlessly as possible, which will then free up bandwidth to focus on more pressing issues, but also pre-sale opportunities that you otherwise wouldn't have time for if you spend all your time answering Wismo questions. In terms of channels that you're communicating with your customers, you should be communicating beyond just email and phone. In the modern world, obviously, social media channels play a big role in terms of how consumers interact with your brand. And so a brand that we consider to be delivering exceptional CX is connected to their customers across multiple channels, ideally 8+. And these channels could be phone, SMS, live chat, all of your different social media channels, and as well as email. And so this makes sure that you're not missing any communication that your customers are having, but more importantly, you're recognizing the same customer who might be communicating across multiple channels as the same customer, right? Because it's not uncommon for a single customer to message you via live chat on a Tuesday, comment on your Instagram post on a Wednesday, call you on a Thursday, and then respond to an email campaign on a Friday. And a good help desk tool will recognize that to be the same customer. They'll consolidate all of the communications that you've had with that customer and also give you all the data you need to actually address the concerns of that customer. And then finally, integrations. And so obviously we all have various size tech stacks of various complexities. So it's really important that all your tools are working together. So you don't have that data siloed. Data is being passed to and from. Something that happens in tool A is going to be reflected in tool B. And so, for instance, Gorgias integrates with over 50 different leading Shopify e-com type apps, like Klaviyo, like Yappo, like Recharge, for instance, which affords a lot of new use cases and benefits. Okay. All right, so I've kind of set the stage for what the challenge is right now, what the opportunity is, and then ultimately what exceptional CX looks like. And so one quick thing I want to show you as a resource for any brands who are tuned in right now with us is you can go to our website under the resources tab, click, where is it? Yeah, you click the Ces Benchmark Report, which is what I'm on right now. And you can just select your industry and then check out what brands who are using Gorgias, who are in the same vertical, what their support metrics look like. So I just put in fashion and apparel, which is probably a typical brand a vertical that many of you might be using. And so what we're showing you here is based on the data that we have on our, again, 7,000 plus customers, what are their support metrics look like? So you can use this as a benchmark for yourself. So it looks like fashion apparel brands using Gorgias have a first response time around 9 hours, which is pretty good. Resolution time around 21 hours, which is a little bit on the long side. And the average CSAT score of their customers is 4.6, which is pretty great. And so you can see the average distribution across channels. You can see which channels they're using, and you can also see their support performance across the other key metrics. And so this is a really good tool for you to use as a brand, regardless of what category you're in, to see where you're at and maybe how far you need to go. All right, so I'm gonna show now an example of a brand that's using Gorgias, which is Hello Tushy, which is a bidet company. Fantastic brand, they have a great product, and they make it really easy for you to set up their products, which is really important. But because it is slightly complex, you have some manual labor in terms of actually unplugging your the hose connector to your toilet. There's a little bit of finesse to this, and so they make it really easy to get answers to questions which might be complex relative to goods that other brands are selling. So we're on our website now, and one feature I really wanted to highlight is this self-service widget. This is not a live chat. We do have that, and I'll show you that in a second. But I talked about how a large percentage of your support volume, typically 30 to 40%, is specifically related to order status. So this is just someone looking for an update on their order status. Again, it's meaningful to the customer, but it's not super pressing for you in terms of impacting churn and retention. And so what you want to do is basically set up a way to automate and deflect as much of this volume as possible. And the feature that we've released that's really had a big impact on this is, again, this self-serve widget. So you can imagine now as a consumer, if I work with, or if I'm a customer of Tushy, I can now go on their website. The first thing I'm prompted with is this self-serve widget. And if I want to get information myself without having to talk to somebody or submit an inquiry, I can do that myself. So you can see here, it's asking, how can we help with your booty? They use a lot of cheeky language. So by simply putting in my order ID or email, or both, I can take action such as track my order. So it'll give me an instant update on my most recent order. I can return an order. I can cancel an order. I can report an issue with an order. So this is an easy way to let customers have the control and power themselves, which really frees up bandwidth for your team to focus on more pressing issues like really upset customers, but also focus on pre-sale opportunities, say through live chat. And so that's a good example of that. And then importantly, if none of these options are satisfying for me as a consumer, I can hit start conversation, and it'll flip over to a live chat, right? So actually I had posted a question back in January when I was ordering a Tushy, and I asked if they ship to Nova Scotia, which is where my family's from. And so you can have a live chat as well. You can upload photos. Ideally you have 24/5 chat going on your store, but and then eventually moving to 24/7. So that's an example of Tushy. And then also on their frequently asked questions page, you can see they have a call to action here. If you have any questions, you can go right ahead and ask questions, and it's going to bring up that chat again. So I just wanted to highlight Tushy and how they use a self-serve tool to really deflect. Deflect is the right word, as much volume as possible. So now we'll jump into our platform. So we're inside of Gorgeous now. I'm just going to show you a few key features, and I'll trust that the moderators will let me know when I'm approaching the end of time here. But what we have here is we have views on the left side, which are essentially ways you can categorize tickets. Tickets being customer conversations that you have. So you can think of this as like your email sidebar, and this is you categorizing your emails. You can think of it like that in Gmail, for instance. And so you can see open tickets, damage, shipping, VIP, the different channels you might be interacting with customers on, social media channels. And then here's your SLA section. So you want to make sure that any tickets that are open for greater than 3 days, that's a problem, right? So what you can see here as we're talking to this customer, Harry Potter, we can see tags associated with the ticket, which tell you what it's likely about. So shipping, VIP. Sounds like someone's mic is on there. And then what you can see on the right sidebar here is you can see the basic customer information. But because we have deep integrations with major e-com platforms like Shopify, you're also seeing information about the customer, such as their lifetime spend, their average order value, how many orders they have. And then you can see individual orders, and you can take action. So if someone said, I need to refund my order, cancel it, edit it, you can edit it. This is a demo account, so it's not letting me see that. But if this is an actual account, I could edit it. I could edit the order, and then it would actually show me live inventory statuses. So you'd make sure that you're not changing an invoice for something that is actually not in stock. And so we also have, as I mentioned, great integrations with other platforms such as Klaviyo. This is a demo account, so it's not showing us great information, but it shows you basically anything you have in Klaviyo associated with that account, lists that they're subscribed to. And what's also cool is you can push Gorgeous data into Klaviyo for better segmentation purposes. We also have a great Yappo integration, which allows you to see their average ratings, the reviews they've left, how many loyalty points they had, and you can actually individually see the reviews. And so this is all to show you that you have a great understanding, a holistic view of your customer, both in terms of whatever inquiries they're asking. So here's a simple question: do we ship to London? You have all their customer information, say from Shopify, and because of our great integration stack, you're getting even more information and use cases, say through Yappo and Klaviyo, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Another thing I wanted to show you here is just how fast you can respond to things. And so here, Carolyn Bing is asking, she just ordered I ordered twice. Can I cancel my last order? We have what we call macros, which are canned responses, which allow you to basically pre-build a response. You can embed data variables like order information or order ID, customer information, which will pull that information from Shopify. And what we now have is actually suggested macros. So it's the machine learning is detecting what Carolyn is asking, and it's saying, hey, look, based on what she's saying, you should go ahead and use this email. And so if I click cancel Shopify, what it's done is it's going to send this preset message, and the actions it's going to take is going to cancel last order, restock, refund, and then I could add a note if I wanted. And when I hit send, it's going to message Carolyn that answer, and it's going to take these specific actions. And so this is an easy way to be fast, which is a key theme that I've been trying to drive home. You can also set this up to be automated as well, which is really cool. And so just to give you a glimpse of the metrics that we're tracking inside of Gorgias. So on the support side of things, which we track, you can see that we're tracking all tickets created. We're tracking your response time, which I mentioned is super important to have this as low as possible, and then resolution time. So this demo can obviously, if this was the reality, these numbers would be pretty poor. Certainly for the resolution time, 5 days would be unacceptable, but it's important to be able to track. And then one-touch tickets, which is how quickly, how many tickets can you handle that you're able to solve within one single message. And what's great is you can track your support performance across channels. So Facebook, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, SMS, Twitter, for instance. You can track per agent. So it's a good way to have a holistic view of how each individual agent and team is performing. And I showed you the tagging function. So shipping, VIP, broken, order status, etc. You can tag tickets, and you can look at different timelines. And so what's great is if you use Gorgias for, say, a year, this coming BFCM season, you can look back to how you performed last year across different channels, different agents, et cetera. And you can say, okay, look, we really didn't perform as well as we should have. Here's the major problems that we ran into last year, whether it was insufficient staffing or your macros weren't set up properly. Let's make sure that we avoid those problems. So this makes it really easy to do. Another thing I wanted to show is our social media integrations. And so I mentioned that the personalization is one of the 2 key ingredients for modern CX. And so it's important to be able to connect with your customers across all the channels, SMS, email, phone, but also social media. And so we have a view here, social leads. And so what this is detecting is the machine learning is analyzing the messaging that your customers are leaving on social media that we detect as a potential sales opportunity. So if you look at some of the subject lines or the key phrases, can't wait to try this, so cute, I love this, that's amazing, they're so cool. You know, these are excited customers, and so these are likely opportunities for you to create a sale. And so we make it easy to detect this and then get the conversation started. So here's an example, Cristiano Ronaldo, when he's not busy playing soccer, he commented on this photo, which you posted on your Instagram. He said, love how simple the design is, where can I buy this? And so this is an easy opportunity to pull this in, take the burden off of someone who's powering your Instagram account. So typically a marketing person will be owning your Instagram account. They're not likely the people who should be answering sales questions. So because we pull all this inside of Gorgias, it makes it really easy for you to see that and then answer questions. And then again, we're appending all of the customer information you have on that specific person, making it really easy to address that. And then the final thing I wanted to show on our metrics side of things is we make it really easy to convert pre-sale opportunities, and we track revenue associated through Gorgias in our dashboard here. And so what you're seeing is how many tickets were created where there was a sales opportunity. So these are for customers who haven't made a purchase in the last 7 days. You can see what the conversion percentage is and how much sales you're actually generating from support, which is really cool. And I've seen brands generate over $25,000 in a single day just using Gorgias. And again, you can segment across different channels to see how you're performing, different tags and different agents as well. So this upcoming BFCM season, it'd be great to make changes like you did compared to last year. And then the final thing, and I'll drop it off here, is we have over 50 different plus integrations, making it really easy to achieve more use cases and have even more data available to you to achieve those key goals of automation, speed, and personalization. And with that, I'll stop there. And yeah, happy to answer any questions. And again, I appreciate the organizers for having me here.
Incredible, Chris. Thanks so much. We will wait for a spotlight change here, but I had a quick follow-up question for you, Chris. We can just, if you have a couple minutes. I know from working with a lot of brands, a lot of companies from solo operators to teams are using like a Gmail inbox, sometimes a shared inbox. When does a brand know that they're ready to, I guess, like generally adopt a customer service platform? And more specifically, when might they be ready for Gorgias?
Yeah, it's a great question. So in terms of like hard numbers to give you an indication, so typically brands who are doing, 800,000 or more in GMV per year is typically around the point, that's just a ballpark number, but A different answer would be when owner operators, they're starting off, they have lean teams. Once they really start to feel the pain of managing things across Gmail, for instance, they feel like they're never getting back to their customers' inquiries, and they just feel like it's become a mess. That's typically when they'll start to look for a tool. So it's usually pain inflicted. So that's one scenario. And then the other scenario would be if they might be using another existing tool and they feel like they're not getting enough automation capabilities, they don't feel like the social media integrations is sufficient for them, and they might be looking to switch help desks. But the great thing about our platform, to answer your first point, is we're a ticket-based pricing model. So we don't charge per agent count. So if you're a small brand, you're doing fairly low volume, we start at $50 a month. And then obviously as your support volume goes up, the pricing will reflect that.
Awesome. Makes a lot of sense. Thanks so much, Chris. We appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Blair. And yeah, looking forward to the rest of the speakers.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, we are officially scheduled for a short break for the next 20 minutes or so. Before we do that, I'm happy to sit here and answer any kind of well, I guess I'm probably not most qualified to answer questions about these talks specifically, but if there is anything you want to discuss about these sessions in particular, happy to discuss those. If anybody has any kind of more general questions about sort of Shopify apps, how merchants can leverage them, happy to do that. If any of my sort of co-hosts want to come in and just pepper me with questions as well, we can do that. But we'll be back to regularly scheduled speakers in about 20 minutes at 1:10 p.m. Eastern.
That's perfect. Yeah, we'll see you all in 20 minutes.
Thanks, everybody. Hang in the Zoom.
For anybody who has just jumped in and joined us, we're just taking a quick break before we dive into the next two sessions. So please bear with us, grab a drink, do whatever you need to do. We will be back momentarily.
For those of you that are just joining us, we are taking a short 10-minute break and we will be back soon. So hang tight and we'll be with you in a few minutes.
Yeah, he's got like on our like project management task force for like
They haven't sent them an internet.
For those of you that have just joined us, we will be back in about 10 minutes. We're just taking a quick break. Hang tight, grab a drink, and we'll be with you in just a few minutes.
For the people who have just joined us or are coming back from break, just an FYI, 5 more minutes of break. We'll be back on at 1:10 Eastern. Okay, we are going to, ooh, recording in progress. Okay, we are going to get started a couple minutes ahead of schedule. As some of you know, this is a series of webinars. This is our first one, and we're learning things as we go, what works and what doesn't. 20-minute break might be a little bit too long. So we're just going to get started a little bit ahead of schedule. For anybody who is coming in now, just a reminder, this is the first of a series of webinars that the App Collective is putting on. App Collective was started because we felt like there were just way too many apps for any individual merchant to understand. So we're bringing together some of the best solutions in the Shopify App Store. and helping merchants kind of understand where they fit into the stack and how they might be able to utilize them. Today's is about customer service. Coming up, we will have conversion dazing, I think, conversion and merchandising, and logistics the week after. So we hope you can join us for all of those. Our next speaker is going to be Molly, who is here now. Molly's from Lucky Orange. Lucky Orange is a really interesting tool. I remember when they launched in the App Store back in the day when I was there, and seeing everything that it could do. It's really, really, really cool. A great step up from anybody who's looking at kind of just the numbers of their store through a tool like Google Analytics. Lucky Orange helps you really kind of understand what's going on your store when customers visit, where they're dropping off, what they're getting frustrated by, how you can help them get through to checkout faster and smoother. With that, I'm going to let Molly take it away and show off what Lucky Orange can do for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Blair. Happy to be with you all today. Really great presentations leading up to this. So excited to be a part of the lineup, as some of the other speakers have said. I wanted to spend the next 15 minutes or so with you guys really talking about a question we get from a lot of our Shopify merchants. And we also spend a lot of time in the Shopify community forums and see this question come up a ton as well. And it really is, I'm getting pretty decent traffic to my store, or even really great traffic to my store, but I'm not seeing any sales or conversions. And that can be super frustrating, especially if you're spending a significant amount of investment driving traffic to your store, and then you're not seeing the conversions. That can just leave you with what the heck is possibly going on with this. And we also understand that 75% of e-commerce carts do get abandoned. So it's a really frustrating battle. It's something that you spend a lot of effort and time against. So we want to help. And I think really the simplest way to getting those conversions up is understanding your visitors' behavior once they get to your website. So what are they engaging with on your store? Where are they clicking? What pages are they visiting? And by doing that, I think you can get a really strong understanding of those visitors to obviously increase those conversions. The great thing is, while that may sound super complicated, it's not. You don't have to be some marketing guru or a super experienced UX designer or a sales guru to really increase those conversions. You really just have to have a couple simple tools and spend just a little bit of time learning about the visitors once they get to your website. So I'm going to click on over here and share my screen with you guys. So I think here, let's say this is just your typical Shopify store, and say on your Shopify store, you're selling jeans. And on this Shopify store, you have different jeans for everyone. You have jeans for her, you have jeans for him, you have jeans for kids, and pretty decent looking Shopify page. And another thing, you've also spent, like we talked about earlier, a significant investment in Facebook ads. So you're sending all of your traffic to this beautiful Shopify store, and you really want to understand what's happening with that Facebook traffic once they get to your Shopify store. A great way to do this is through heat maps. Heat maps show you the interactions and the clicks that are happening on your store. So anywhere you see red, you know that you're getting more clicks. Anywhere you're seeing the blues and greens, you're obviously getting less clicks. So you want to come and you want to segment that heat map, because again, we said we're focusing on our Facebook traffic because that's where we're running a lot of campaigns on. We go in and we segment our heat map by source, and we make sure Facebook's selected. Great, now we can see the Facebook traffic that's coming. So where do we go from here? As we do a quick peruse of our website, we notice that really the For Him and the For Kids collections are getting a lot of traffic from our main navigation, which is great. That's great to see. So then we want to see what's happening on the rest of our page to see if that holds true as you look through the rest. So we scroll down and we get to our feature collections. And we actually notice that contrary to what we're seeing in the main navigation, the For Him and the For Kids section aren't getting a ton of traffic where the For Her section is. I mean, there could be a couple reasons to figure this out, but that's curious. So we want to look into that more. And one of the ways in which we can look into that more is a session recording is a great way to pair with a heat map. So then you can actually see what the visitor's doing on your website instead of just the clicks that are happening. So you can really drill down into that individual level. So let's click over into a session recording to see if we can figure out why the main navigation may be showing for him and for kids are the most popular from your Facebook audience, while the for her isn't as popular. And again, why do we want to do this? If you are spending a significant portion of driving Facebook traffic to your website, but they're not converting, maybe you are not having the right ads displaying on Facebook. So maybe we do want to, if it holds true that the for him and for kids genes are the most popular, maybe it makes sense to really target those ads to that sort of audience. So let's click over into a session recording to see if we can tell what's going on. The contradiction between your main navigation and your collection section. So let's take a look at this visitor. So as you can see, this visitor scrolling and they come to your collections section and they seem to be lingering on it a second to get oriented to what's happened. Then what you can see is they immediately start clicking on the for her and they have several clicks of the for her right in a row. This can indicate to you a couple of things. One, it's called a rage click. A rage click is when someone clicks a short amount of time, several clicks. And what a rage click indicates to you that one, there's probably likely a link broken there that they're expecting to be able to click on that and nothing's happening. So that's kind of the first thing you should look into. Second, you do notice after they move on past the for her collection that they are interested in the men's jeans. So they're looking at different men's jeans, scrolling in, checking to see what they look like. And then hopefully they add them to the cart. They also are looking at other jeans, men's jeans that you have on your suggested to see with those as well. So again, the session recording, I think, tells us a couple of different things. One, that I think your for her link may be broken, which is something you should dive into, but it also shows you that they are in fact interested in men's jeans as well, and something you can use to look at as well. So that's great. I think that's a great way. I think that's how heat maps help you discover where the clicks are happening. And then the session recordings really pair that in. So I think what I would do with this is realizing that your Facebook traffic may be interested in men's jeans because the session recording showed us that. And they're also clicking from the main navigation. There may be a problem with your for her section. A link may be broken. And we also saw from the session recording that it also means likely that not a lot of people from Facebook are actually clicking on the for her section. You just had rage clicks in a short amount of time, which is why you saw a lot of clicks on the heat map. So another way we can do this as well is we can actually use from obviously Facebook, a lot of times you see mobile visitors. So one of the things you also want to focus on your website experience is both your desktop and your mobile experience are very similar, and there's not things that are broken between the two. One of the things that a lot of stores we see also try out is adding an announcement banner to the top or something that offers a discount or free shipping. So you can see here, we've recently added this fall sale, and it tells you get 30% off your entire order and free shipping. That's great. As you see on the desktop view here, it's pretty tiny up at the top and doesn't appear to be getting a lot of clicks. But when I switch over to phone view and segment my audience that way, you can actually see that this announcement banner is getting a lot of clicks from the phone view. This may be attributed to a couple different reasons. One of the reasons being that maybe it's just not as clear on your desktop view. Maybe it's too small and people aren't seeing that. Maybe when you switch over to the phone view, it's just more prominent. They can see it better. Secondarily, it can also tell you potentially that your mobile audience is way more of deal seekers than say your desktop audience. So this allows you to potentially offer discounts to your mobile visitors because you know that's something they're interested in. Being able, heat maps and session recordings, being able to segment this way really helps you narrow in what works for a specific audience. So what works for your Facebook audience may not work for your Google PPC audience, and you can make adjustments for each of those audiences based on that. By using the session recordings and heat maps, you can definitely segment the visitors and learn more about their preferences. Another big question, and Blair alluded to this in the introduction, is a lot of our Shopify merchants come to us and say, hey, I use Google Analytics. How is this really different? And I think for Google Analytics, it allows you a lot of powerful information, but really where it falls short is telling you that experience once your visitors are on the website. So what are they actually doing? What are they actually engaging with? So one of the great ways to do that is by checking out a scroll heat map. What a scroll heat map does, as you can see, it starts out really red and it tells you how many people are getting to that point on your page. And as you scroll down, you see it continues to get lighter and lighter and lighter until you hit this white line, which is called the effective. Essentially what the effective fold is it means that 50% of your people have made it to your website on this page and scrolled to this point. And then as you continue to scroll, you see that number gets less and less and less. What can you do with this information? Well, as I look on this website right now, you can see that your call to action is actually below that effective fold. So one of the things to help improve your conversions that you could do is move the call to action up to the very top of the page where you know all your visitors are going to at least make it to that point on the page. So you can add your shop now potentially somewhere in here. Another thing you can do with this information is if you have products that have a higher margin, say your 4Kids jeans, you make a higher margin on, making sure that those are placed more prominently on your screen can actually help increase the value order of each of your conversions as well. So as we continue to look at that, you can learn more about how people are engaging on your website. And I'm just seeing the chat, is there still issues with the microphone that we're
Yes.
having?
Yes.
Okay. Let me try. Is it echoing or what's going on?
Yeah, it sounds like your headphones are a little wonky or something.
Okay, let me try to switch really quick now. Switch over.
I think we're good.
Is that sounding better now?
No.
Oh, still got something.
How about now?
Sorry
How
to
does that
interrupt you in the middle of your prezzo.
No, it's fine. No, that's perfect. I'm glad you did. Does that sound okay now?
No.
No,
What, are you just getting echo?
it sounds
Yeah.
kind of metallic. Did you change your microphone over in Zoom?
Let me try that. How does that sound, guys?
Still there. Let's just go ahead. I think we're probably coming up to the end of things here anyways. We can hear you fine. It just sounds a little bit off, but I think everybody can understand you okay.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Appreciate you hanging. All right, so let's switch back.
This is how it always goes.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate you guys hanging in there. And sorry, the microphone's being funny. I don't know what's going on. So again, scroll heat maps is a great way to do that. And I know we're coming up at time, so I'll kind of quickly go through these last little bits. But another thing customers also fear is ambiguous information. So you can see here in a session reporting that this customer is coming to the site and they're looking to have a pretty high intent to buy some jeans. So they're scrolling through, going through your different web pages, and then you come down to here, they're reading a little bit more about your home, your different options, that sort of thing. And then they come down to your what's trending section, and they look to be pretty interested in the what's trending section. So they come in here, they're checking out a pair of jeans, and they're reading, they're scrolling in on the different things, on what they can see, and then they're gonna add them to the cart. And for sake of this, we'll fast forward a little bit just for time, but they do explore other jeans and go ahead and add them to the cart. What we know when we see them add them to the cart, and again, they're looking at the jeans, learning more, showing great intent to buy. So where we can start to use this information is they go to checkout. And they go to checkout and you notice that they'll start engaging with the shipping. They're curious, they read over that before they're checking out. And this is where we see a lot of visitors start to have issues, is with the shipping information. So they're reading your shipping policies and really curious about when they can expect to get them, how much it's going to cost. And again, we see this on a lot of Shopify stores. what they're going to get ready to do, and as you see, they'll continue to scroll over this, and ultimately we see this visitor leave the website. And this obviously is not something we want to see. We don't want our shipping policy preventing them from happening. So one of the things you can do is actually add an announcement to your shipping page. And on your shipping page, you can add an announcement when you notice that they are interested in shipping and spending a lot of time on that page. And you can always offer them free shipping to hopefully send them over the edge of what they'd be interested in doing. Another thing that we think is really important on your e-commerce store is a lot of times in traditional brick and mortar stores, you can go up to a sales associate and ask them, hey, how does this generally fit? What kind of questions do I have about this? And get your questions answered really pretty quickly on that with that store associate. E-commerce customers don't have the same option. So in the e-commerce customers, I think it's great to implement a live chat. And a live chat will allow you to engage with those customers in real time, they can ask questions, and then you can prevent them from leaving the store in real time. So with this customer, you see them asking, does your sizing run true to size? And you can quickly answer the question and hopefully prevent them from leaving because you're able to answer their question in real time. You can also set up chat invites. What that might look like is if someone is lingering on your shipping page for too long, you can automatically initiate a chat invite to say, are there any shipping questions I can answer for you today? And set up triggers as to what page that would be on. So your shipping page, what timing, only when you're available to chat. And then you can review that and see that in real action. The one last thing I want to highlight for everyone quickly here is conversion funnels. And as a part of the Lucky Orange and Shopify integration, you can set up conversion funnels automatically that really talk about your user's journey to convert. So what does this look like? Here you see a quick conversion funnel that we set up that shows people coming to the homepage, moving to the For Him collections, and then checking out in the cart. Having the power to understand your journey, your user's path to conversion can really help you optimize on each step. So obviously between steps 2 and 3, you see the biggest drop off, but that's okay. You can really optimize, maybe adding more call to actions on the For Him collection page to get them to add it to the cart and making it easier on them. So to wrap up all of this for you guys, and again, really apologize about the audio that we're having, audio issues that we're having here. But to wrap it up for you, really the 3 things you can do now: start analyzing your website with heat maps and session recordings to get an understanding of where you can optimize what's broken before you head into Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Implement a live chat so people can easily access you and you can help them from leaving your site. And then use conversion funnels, set them up to see people's journey to conversion and hopefully help your other pages get there as well. I'll be in Discord after this. I appreciate you all hanging with me again with the sound issues, but if you have any questions, reach out to me in Discord or my information's in chat too. You can reach out to me that way as well.
Incredible, Molly. Thanks so much. Don't worry about the audio issues. They happen. And when we talked last week, that was one of the things that I was looking out for, and we weren't having a problem last week. So
I know, darn it.
Sometimes these things just happen. That is all good. Really appreciate your time today. I had a question that I was going to do live here, but I'll throw it in the Discord as well. So we can just keep motoring along. And thanks so much again for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. I am also going to try and avoid having a different kind of audio problems. My 7-month-old daughter is getting her first teeth and has started to freak out over the last couple of days. If you hear that in the background, then my apologies. Our next guest is going to be Chloe from Clyde. This is one that I'm really excited about. If you're not familiar, Clyde is a warranty program facilitator, if that's the word, for your brand. Warranties are something that I think must be just an absolute nightmare to set up for a lot of brands. So much so that I don't know that it's really feasible for a lot of, especially smaller brands, to do without the help of somebody like Chloe. She deals with partnerships at Chloe, specifically agency partnerships, I believe. and is here to walk you through kind of the Clyde solution, how it can benefit you, and how you can both make your customer experience better, as well as hopefully make some more money through selling warranties on your products. Take it away, Chloe.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much, Blair. Hey, everyone. As Blair mentioned, I am Chloe Fisher. I'm the Director of Agency Partnerships here at Clyde. So Clyde is a product protection platform, as Blair alluded to. So essentially what we do is we're democratizing the process of selling product protection online, and we're really giving businesses of all sizes the ability to sell extended warranties online. So the easiest way to think of Clyde is that we offer Apple Care for all of the businesses of the world who aren't Apple-sized. Another good example would be somebody like Best Buy Geek Squad. If you guys are anything like me, you've probably spilled coffee or sparkling water on any laptop you've ever owned. And Best Buy knows there's a lot of people like me out there who always buy the Geek Squad warranty. In fact, they know this so well that in Q3 of 2019, Best Buy made 53% of their profit off of extended warranty contracts. So that's right. Best Buy made more in Q3 of 2019 selling product protection plans on the products than actually selling the products in store. So I'd like to provide a little bit of background as to why Clyde was founded, why we exist, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys a little bit of our software. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and just pull up the Clyde website here and share it with you guys. Our website is www.joinclyde.com. Feel free to check it out. So a little context as to why Clyde was created. So our founder was actually an e-commerce merchant. He built out these 3D printers and started selling them online. And he'd done some research, and he knew that offering extended warranties could not just help him drive revenue, but it could also help him keep his customers happy in the long run. Obviously, if something did break, we want to make sure that the process goes right? We want to make sure that we have coverage in place to handle that. Unfortunately, the way that traditional warranties are set up, the traditional warranty industry isn't really focused on e-commerce brands, emerging brands, or even mid-market brands. They're focused on the Best Buys and Apples of the world, the Amazons, the Targets, the Walmarts. And so traditional warranty programs, unfortunately, don't really have offerings for e-commerce merchants. So even though he wanted to sell warranties, he couldn't find anyone who would actually partner with him to make it a possibility for him to sell those online. So even really successful e-commerce brands don't necessarily bring in the type of revenue that a traditional warranty company is looking for when they're actually going out and trying to find somebody that would be a good fit for their solution. So when our founder went to meet with these major players in the warranty space and they didn't have an offering to support him, he noticed there was a gap in the market, and thus Clyde was born. So that's really where we came from. Clyde's been on the market for about 3 years, and we're really proud of our offering. So our core offering is product protection, extended warranty, as I mentioned. And, not only are these warranty programs a lot of times reserved for large corporations like the Best Buys, the Apples, the Walmarts and Amazons and Targets, they're also really expensive and time consuming to stand up. So just to kind of give a little context as to everything that goes into actually standing up a warranty program in-house, there's quite a lot of coverage that actually goes into product protection. So standing up a warranty program in-house, let's say we're a merchant, we're selling something like furniture online, and we really want to be able to offer good extended warranty coverage to our end customers. That can take anywhere from 18 to 24 months to actually stand up. So you have to consider the process of actually going out and finding a provider who can match their plans and coverage to your products. Then you have to build out the offering, go through the licensing process so you can actually be in compliance. Then you have to actually go out and develop a front-end CTA that can sit on your e-commerce site. And then you have to develop the tools that go alongside that. Then there's the actual contract matching process and FTP uploads. Then there's hiring out a team to support that. So when those claims actually start coming in, who's going to adjudicate them? Who's going to be responsible for the customer support there? And likely there's going to be a manual adjudication process that's going to involve some degree of snail mail, going online, printing out a form, having it mailed back, and there's a sitting and waiting period. This is what traditional warranty options look like. Really, really time consuming, really expensive, requires a lot of manpower, a lot of lift to get up and running. So we're lucky if we can stand that up in-house in 1.5 years, 2 years. Now, what Clyde has done is we've taken on all of that heavy lifting for our merchants. So instead, what we offer is a free to use, free to install Shopify app that's revolutionizing the traditional warranty approach. So what we're doing is democratizing extended warranty coverage so that merchants of all sizes can actually offer up this coverage to their end customers. Not only is this important because it can help us drive additional revenue, but good data actually shows us that this is something that end customers now are starting to expect, right? When they can go onto third-party marketplaces like Amazon or like Target and purchase an extended warranty, a product protection plan on a good, they want to see that on your website as well. Otherwise, they're going to go buy from a third-party marketplace. So we've got to make sure that our microservices are competitive to the offerings that are also available on the market. And if we're not thinking about it, our competitors certainly are. So in terms of Clyde and what we offer, we're a fully licensed warranty admin, meaning that we support the claims adjudication process, and we have an entire team to actually help you support your customers when they need to file a claim. So what I've done is I've actually pulled together some screenshots of what Clyde actually looks like in action, and I just kind of want to walk you guys through these and show you a little bit more about what this actually looks like. Now, I will in a moment show you our CTA, which is pretty out of the box. It can help you sell anywhere that you're currently selling today to offer warranty coverage. But really what we've got here is our product dashboard. So when we're an end customer and we log into our highclyde.com website, which is our end customer facing site, our merchant facing site is joinclyde.com and customers highclyde.com. This is what we're going to see. So we're going to see all of the products that we've purchased, regardless of the merchant that we've purchased them from. Clyde is actually recognizing me by my email address. So it's showing me all of the active contracts that I have on these products that I've purchased. And I can also see the products that are eligible for coverage. I can see the terms that I have to buy coverage. So even if you have a customer who chooses not to buy Clyde product protection at the time of sale, you still have the opportunity to sell to them during likely the length of their limited warranty is generally what we see. All right, so clicking through here, I just want to show you guys what the claims adjudication process looks like. So what I've done here, these are some screen grabs I pulled last night, is I'm going to file a claim on these Samsung Galaxy Bud headphones. So the first thing that I do would be to click here and file a claim. Then it's going to ask me for my contact info, my phone number. I'll click next. It's going to ask me the kind of issue that I'm having. Now in this instance, Galaxy Bud headphones are something that are fairly portable in nature, so I know that I have accidental damage coverage on these. So in this case, I've selected accidental damage from handling. Clyde is going to ask me a few questions. Was I using this product as intended? Is it still fully functional? Then I'm going to have to give a description. Now, what I've said here is that I was on a walk and my headphones fell out of my pocket. I didn't realize that they'd fallen out of my pocket until a car drove by and ran them over, and now they're totally broken. They're busted. I can't use them. Then what Clyde's going to ask me to do is to upload a photo. So I have to upload at least one image. I have the option to upload up to 3. Now, one reason this is important is because this is fraud prevention. So the Clyde reps, our customer success team, will actually look at these images and make sure that they match the actual product that was sold to your end customer to make sure that we're filing a claim on the correct item. Now, 90% of the time that a claim is filed, it's actually being filed directly from an end customer's smartphone. So what happens if you're filing a Clyde claim from your smartphone is that the camera will automatically open up and it's going to prompt you to go ahead and take some photos of the damaged item. Now from here, I'll have to put in the failure date. As I mentioned, I did this yesterday, so I put in yesterday's date. I do have to certify that the information that I've provided is truthful and accurate. So I clicked this little box here, and then I click submit claim. And in real time, I was approved for a replacement. So that's the claims adjudication process. So typically what we'd have to fill out on that snail mail piece of paper and mail back, all I had to do was fill out the short form, takes less than 2 minutes to fill out, and I've been approved for a replacement. Now I'm going to enter my shipping info. So what I'll do here is I'll say, yep, this is my address. Then I'll click submit. And it's that simple to actually file a claim in Clyde. Now, there are a number of different resolutions and outcomes that we can get into. But before we get into that, I actually just want to talk about why Clyde exists. So we exist really for two reasons. There's a reason we exist for our merchants, and there's a reason that we exist for our end customers as well. So the first reason we exist is to help merchants like you to maximize the performance of your programs and the longevity of your relationship with a customer. So this means that not only are you offering up a warranty program that helps you drive incremental revenue, Clyde merchants on average generally see 60 to 80% profit off of every contract that's sold. So most of the profit off of every contract that's sold goes back to our merchants. We do give merchants the flexibility to play with that markup percentage. You also see an average order value increase of about 10% on average when you sell with Clyde. Now, I'll show you here in a moment what this actually looks like if we're selling on a merchant's website and we choose to purchase Clyde coverage. But on average, the cost of a Clyde contract is about 10% of whatever the item is, give or take. Good data also tells us you're keeping your customers happy by selling warranties. So 47% of customers are actually looking to see if you offer product protection before they buy. So as I mentioned, these microservices, things like shipping insurance with Route or returns with services like Loop, some of the other technologies that we've seen here today, Lucky Orange is a great example, Gorgeous is a great example. Our customers are at a point now in buying online where they don't just want these things, they expect these services. Because we went through 2020, right? We went through quarantine. Everyone's buying online now. We're so used to this. And so we have a certain expectation. Our expectation has grown and changed. And now what we used to consider nice to haves are must haves if we want to stay competitive. So product protection is the new standard on the market, with third-party marketplaces like Amazon and Walmart offering up product protection to their customers. We have to make sure we're offering this if we want to be competitive. So the second reason that we're going to exist is to empower the end customer by unlocking the full potential of the products that they buy. So obviously, none of us want something to go wrong with our products. We don't want that to happen. We sell good products, right? You probably believe in the product that you're selling, but mistakes happen. It's 2021. We spill coffee on our laptops, our kids throw toys at our new flat screens, a lightning storm causes a power surge, your dog chews on your new headphones. These things happen every day. It's not that the products are bad, it's that we're human. And in those moments where mistakes happen, we need to offer up exceptional service to our customers so that they feel empowered and supported and they want to keep coming back to us. So really what Clyde sets out to do is delight our customers so that they'll return to your brand and keep doing business with you because they've received a really positive outcome. So Clyde is helping to increase customer lifetime value. And I think as we all know by this point, it's far cheaper to retain existing customers than go out and acquire new customers. So we have to make sure that we're working really hard to keep our customers happy. Now, that being said, what I'd like to do is just kind of pop through and show you guys some examples of what this actually looks like on some of our merchants' websites. So the first brand that I've got pulled up here is Hydro. If you're not familiar with Hydro, they're a connected fitness rowing brand. They're an awesome product. So if we actually go to this Hydro rower here, what we're going to do is click Add to Cart. And then we're actually going to be delivered to the cart. Now, once we arrive in the cart, we're going to see this little button pop up that says Add Extra Protection. If we click on this, the Clyde CTA will actually appear. Now, the Clyde CTA can appear in a number of different ways, just depending on the preference of the merchant's website. And this is actually something that our merchants can have some say over when they're actually setting up their site. So they'll have this unique call to action where they can upload their logo. You see the logo here in the upper left-hand corner. You can also see that they choose how it appears, whether it's on the modal, the product page, the cart, the catalog, and then the type of buttons that appear as well. So it gets pretty customizable. In addition to that, Clyde has a customizable header, and all of the value props that you see here on the CTA are going to be unique and, again, customized to the warranty offering. So the warranty offering can really vary based on the nature of the product that you're selling. Obviously, a resolution on something like a rowing machine is going to be a very different resolution than a pair of headphones. But for us, we're working with a number of insurance partners across the industry to make sure that we've got best rates and we've got coverage for all different kinds of fitness equipment, consumer electronics, any sort of auto part, marine part, jewelry, watch, optical wear, e-bikes, e-scooters. We work with them all, and we can offer up unique coverage options based on that. One other thing that I do like to point out here is that all of Clyde's CTAs will link out to our terms and conditions. One reason this is super important is because it makes us ADA compliant. I think that's top of mind right now for a lot of merchants. To my knowledge, Clyde is the only fully ADA compliant CTA on the market today for product protection. So super important if compliance is something that your company is looking at, or if you've got a compliant website, you need to make sure that the apps you're using as well support your compliance. Now, if we were actually going to add Clyde to our cart, let's say I decided I wanted this 3-year protection plan. I'm going to add the protection plan, and what we'll actually see is that, my computer wants to work, there we go. And what we'll actually see is that Clyde is going to pop up as a separate line item in our cart. So it's always going to appear as a separate SKU in our cart, as a separate line item, but again, increases the AOV, in this case, just a little bit over 10%. Now, another example that I always like to show off is Vio. Part of the reason for this is I really love the way that Vio has the setup on their website. I also want to give a shout out to Jess Grossman, who I think is on this call. When I showed this to Jess for the first time, she actually told me that Vio was the first laptop that she'd ever owned. So anytime I think about Vio, I think about Jess. So in terms of the look and feel of Clyde on the Vio website, we can actually see that what our coverage options are right off the bat. So on the product listing page, we're seeing our options for coverage. One other thing I do love to point out here is that Vio is also using buy now, pay later technology. So in this case, they're using Klarna. We also have merchants who use Clyde alongside Affirm, Catapult, a number of other technologies as well. Generally, it's those items that are higher ticket value that merchants are going to, or that end customers are going to want to insure. So typically, when we're looking at the type of items that are going to be a good fit for Clyde, it's not going to be, a consumable product. It's not going to be something like a new t-shirt. It's going to be a higher ticket value item, something that we intend to use for a long time and we really want to get the benefit out of. A nice pair of headphones, a nice laptop, a nice piece of fitness equipment, some sort of e-bike, e-scooter, something we intend to get a lot of use out of and use for a long time that we're paying good money for. What we actually saw during COVID was an increase in the number of customers who were adding product protection alongside their products, right? So even in financially difficult times, what we saw is that consumers really care about having coverage on their items. Hugely important here. All right, so quickly just kind of jumping back into this deck, I just want to show you a couple of the different kinds of resolutions and outcomes that you can expect with Clyde. As we saw in one earlier example with the Samsung Galaxy Bed headphones, sometimes a resolution is as simple as, hey, sit back and relax, we're going to send you out a new item. Sometimes a resolution looks like, hey, you're approved for a repair. In this case, it's a treadmill. It would be something similar if you had a rowing machine or maybe a major appliance like a fridge or a dishwasher. In another case, maybe it's, hey, your claim's been approved. Here's a promo code. And you can actually go visit the merchant's website, copy this promo code, and we're going to give you $200 off your next purchase of a television. So in this case, it looks like the television cost $200. So they're giving a promo code that essentially makes the TV free. And sometimes it's a direct payment back to the end customer. So in this case, we've got some sunglasses from Warby Parker. And congratulations, you've been approved for a direct payment of $160. So in this case, our headphone or our sunglasses broke, and I'm just going to get paid back. Clyde's going to make sure that I get paid back on those, since unfortunately I can no longer use that item. Now, in terms of the merchant, I do want to just clarify the merchant and their wallet are never affected by this process. So Clyde works directly with our warranty providers to give positive resolutions in all different instances. But again, the merchant is never losing money when claims are adjudicated. The merchant has made their money upfront by the sale of the contract. As I mentioned, we do have a super customizable CTA. Clyde has an end customer facing dashboard, and we also have a merchant dashboard where you can see things like performance reports. It's also where all of the information about customizing our CTA lives. In addition to that, you can get really granular into your customer info, into claims that have been submitted, claims that have been resolved or still need resolution. And that's really all I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. You can also scan this QR code here and connect with me on LinkedIn. But yeah, we're really excited about this. We're thrilled to be part of the App Collective, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Thank you so much, Chloe. We really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chloe, that was incredible. Thanks a lot. Now, I mentioned earlier that we're sort of making a couple scheduling changes as we go. We're going to do a quick 5-minute break here rather than the initially scheduled 20. And then we will be back at 1:55 here with Tim from Smile. Don't go anywhere.
For anybody just tuning in, we're just taking a very quick break and we will be back momentarily. Please stay tuned.
Just before we get started with Tim, a reminder or a heads up for anybody who's coming in late. This is the first in a series of webinars the App Collective is doing focusing on customer service. We're doing another webinar next week around conversion-dizing and a third the week following about logistics. The App Collective is a group of apps trying to solve the problem of too many apps for Shopify and helping merchants to filter through the noise to find the right solutions for them. On that note, happy to welcome Tim from Smile to the stage. Smile is a loyalty solution that's been around, I feel like, in the Shopify ecosystem forever. One of the OGs in the space. Smile is a great solution. I feel like kind of loyalty and optimizing for LTV and recurring customers is something that you can never focus on too early as a brand. And Smile is luckily a great solution for all types. They have a free plan. So you can be focusing on increasing that LTV and repeat customer rate from day one, which is awesome. With that, Tim, I'll let you take it away and share even more.
Perfect. I think everyone can see me now. Like Blair said, my name is Tim from Smile. I'm the Senior Manager of Marketing Community here, and we have roughly 90,000 merchants across Shopify, BigCommerce, and Wix that are all using Smile to turn those one-time sales into loyal repeat customers. And so when we talk about what the problems that we're solving or what we're actually trying to help merchants with, it's pretty straightforward. Everyone is fairly versed and is pretty good at acquiring those initial customers, whether you're using ads, whether you've built up a social following, whether you're using just on-site SEO and built a blog and you're creating that content funnel. Acquiring customers is something that usually comes fairly easily. There's kind of known channels of how to get started in acquiring customers, but then it's okay. So now that you've acquired that customer, you've got that initial sale. How do you turn them into a repeat customer? How do you get them coming back for that second, third, fourth purchase? And not only that, how do you optimize that customer and how do you turn them into not just an individual customer, but how do you make them a brand advocate where they're actually advocating for your brand, they're telling their friends about you and bringing you more customers themselves so that you don't have to acquire those customers all on your own. And so that really sums up what Smile is doing is we are helping customers acquire, engage, and then retain their existing customers and turn customers into brand advocates. And we're doing that through our three types of programs that we have. We have a points program, a referral program, and a VIP program. And we're all fairly familiar with all these different types of programs. Points programs, we're used to those, whether you're using like a credit card where you're getting points for it, whether you use different retail stores have different points programs. In Canada here we have HBC points and you got your Aeroplan points. And so we're familiar with those as well as, the Starbucks of the world. We're used to VIP programs, especially ones like Starbucks where you have different tiers. And as you move up through the tiers, you get different perks. You can earn points faster to cash them in. And then referral programs have been around for a long time as well, where your customers send your brand to someone that they know and say, hey, you should try this out. And if that customer comes to your store and makes a purchase, then they both get something in return, whether it's a discount or points or something like that. It's fairly straightforward. There's lots of brands that are doing it very well. There's lots of brands that could benefit from it. And so rather than talk your ear off about what Smile does, let's just kind of jump into a case study that I think is one of the better examples of how Smile can work when it's fully optimized and working really well. And it's something that's checked on. It's not just set it and forget it. It is something that you have to continually check on to make sure that, hey, am I doing things properly? Is this working the way that I want it to be working for my brand? And that's through Jimmy Joy. If you're not familiar with them, they are a health and nutrition supplement brand, and they're based in the Netherlands. And they have a huge following over there that they built up over the last few years. Their products have over 19,000 reviews. But when they partnered up with Smile back in 2018, 2019, they were at that point where they were really good at acquiring customers, and they wanted to their products as a health and nutrition supplement. They have shakes and bars and that sort of thing. It's consumable. And so it is something that it is really easy to get people to come back, but how do you get people to come back to your store and not someone else's? And so they wanted something that they could get their customers to keep coming back and build that brand loyalty, at the same time turning those customers into brand advocates. And so they set up first a referral program, and then eventually they turned on a points and VIP program as well. And they got some pretty awesome results from it. So they generate tens of thousands of dollars in revenue every month. In total, they've generated nearly $1 million worth of referral revenue from just the referral program itself. That's not even including the points and VIP. And their program has over 30,000. And again, these stats actually I think are from last year, from a case study we did with them. So that's I know it's much higher than that. And they really just kind of jumped all in with loyalty, and they didn't kind of add bits and pieces. They really wanted to start building brand loyalty, lock their customers into the brand community that they created, and start giving them points, start motivating them to become brand advocates themselves. So on their website, they have a whole page that's dedicated to the loyalty program, and showing their customers how they can share the joy as a brand that's all about fun and excitement and kind of playfulness. It really worked well for the gamification part of loyalty for them to just build that into the whole experience. They have a launch room panel that has, customized banners and icons, and they just made it a really cohesive part of their brand experience. It doesn't feel like a bolted on thing that is very clearly not custom. To be honest, if you went to their website, you might not even know that it's a Smile program. I can't remember if they have any branding on their program to let you know it's from Smile, but it looks amazing. And it just feels like another part of their website where customers can earn points. They can cash in those points to get discounts. And it just keeps them coming back again and again. And then they're also motivated to send out referrals, and then they can earn points for that and get discounts. And it's built to them kind of this hedge of customers that are bought into their brand community. They know the value of Jimmy Joy. They're building that bank of points by sharing on social, buying products, leaving reviews, and then cashing those in for points, or cashing those points in for discounts, making more purchases. And it's just a cycle of retention that has worked really well for Jimmy Joy. You can see here they've got VIP that they added last year as well, where as you earn more points, as you make more purchases, you move up through the tiers, you get different perks, you get early access to different things. And they just made it a really engaging part of their site. It's not just points, it's not just referral, but it's a really, it's baked into their entire brand experience. It's not just a bolted on part of their site. If you're a customer of Jimmy Joy, you're going to want to be a part of their loyalty program as well to keep earning points and keep coming back. And I think one of the best ways that I can think of to kind of show you guys how Smile works is just take a look at it on a few sites live on this call here. So let me just pull up Chrome, if I can share it here. So first, actually, hopefully everyone can see my screen. Did the screen share work?
Yes, looks great.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So this is the Jimmy Joy website, and it's actually, just let me move the little Zoom window. You can see on the bottom here, they've got their little rewards panel. So right on their homepage, you, as a customer, I can see that they have a loyalty program. That widget is right there, and it explains all the benefits of being part of the program. They've also got, let me close this here. Sorry, all the Zoom things are covering the screen, so I can't see where anything is. They also have a rewards landing page on their site too that explains all of the perks and benefits of being part of the Jimmy Joy loyalty program. So, share the joy. Again, just that all of the branding here is like that fun cartoon style that Jimmy Joy is known for. When you're part of their rewards program, you can refer friends. This is their European store, so it's they get 10 euros, you get 10 euros, and there's a lot of good psychology at play in there as well. They break down, all of the different perks that you can get as part of their program, and they break down the different VIP tiers. And it really it's a really simple page. There's not a whole lot of flashiness to it, but it just explains all of the value of being part of their program. And it makes it really easy for customers on their website to say, oh, like there's the program, I can earn points, I'm going to make a purchase, why wouldn't I join? And then, sorry, see there's something in the chat, just making sure it's not a question. Yeah, it is really fun, and they've made it really easy to want to be engaged with their brand. You can see here in the rewards panel some of the different ways that I can earn their time tokens. They've branded it really well. Different social engagement, social sharing, following, subscribing to the newsletter, reviewing products. They've made it really easy to just like get bought in and start earning those points. And then as a customer, once I have that points balance saved up, then I'm going to want to keep coming back to Jimmy Joy because I have that stored value with that brand. And so my next purchase, I'm going to come back to Jimmy Joy. I'm going to cash in those points. I'm going to get a discount. And then that purchase where I use that discount earns me more points. And so it keeps me locked in. And it's that great brand protection, that loyalty protection where customers aren't going to want to leave because they have that built up points balance with your brand. And, Jimmy Joy is a good example of this in the food and beverage or health and nutrition space, but it really works for a whole bunch of different types of businesses. Here's another example, Doe Lashes, where they are using what we call a deep link, where on their main webpage, you don't really see that little that smile widget, that launcher, but they have a rewards thing built into their navigation. So you can say, oh, what's my points balance? And so they have it built in here using what we call a deep link, where it then launches that loyalty panel. And you can engage with the program like you would normally. Again, Doe Lashes has done an amazing job at branding their program with their Doe Bucks, and they have all these different ways you can earn and ways to redeem. And again, it's for companies like Jimmy Joy, like Doe Lashes, where it's consumable. And I guess I hope you're not consuming false eyelashes, but it's something that is consumed and you have to repurchase fairly often. They're optimized to have that sort of loyalty program because of the repeat purchase rate or higher repeat purchase rate compared to other types of products. But it isn't to say that if you are using or selling a product that isn't as consumable as food and beverage or cosmetics that you can't use loyalty. Another example I'll show you quickly here is Tushy. That is a gorgeous customer. I think they talked about that earlier, and they use Smile as well, even though, I don't know how many bidets you're likely to have in your home, but they use Smile to not only get those customers coming back, but they really make it valuable for them to do the referrals as well, to turn those customers into advocates, to let them know that I love my bidet, but also there's something in it for you if you purchase through my referral link. And so it makes it valuable for the customers to refer their friends, apart from just all the benefits of having a home bidet. And they have a bunch of different accessories on their site as well. Obviously, they don't just sell only bidets, but they sell, they have toilet paper now, and they have, the Tushy brushes, the ottomans. They have some other side products apart from their flagship that you might purchase more frequently than a bidet itself. And so customers are able to earn points for those more regular purchases. And when it is time for another bidet, whether you're adding another one or your first one is old and needs replacing, then it's easy for them to have that saved points balance and come back for another purchase with those points that they've already saved up. Again, food and beverage is another great example of that. Copper Cow Coffee, again, because it's consumable, it's really great for them to optimize their customers and optimize the experience that their customers have with them, to make it beneficial for them to come back to them versus one of their competitors. Although Copper Cow is in a special space because I honestly don't know anyone that has an identical product to theirs. But again, they have that deep link where the website itself doesn't necessarily have any of the loyalty branding, but for customers that know where they're going, they can click view your points and they can engage with the program right there. Again, it looks great. They have custom colors, custom icons, custom banners, and they make it really easy and valuable for customers to engage with them. So it's clear to see that there's obviously really nice ways that you can build a loyalty program, but it's also really simple and you don't need to get super complicated. And so I thought, depending on how much time I have, that I have just one of my test stores in here, and we'll see if I can just install Smile on it and quickly just show you how the whole setup works. And it's fairly quick. I'm not going to get too crazy with any of the calculations or branding, but just to show you how easy it is to get started with Smile, we do have a completely free tier, so you can get started with points and referrals for free, no credit card required, and just start rewarding your customers and helping them build that points balance and build that brand loyalty. So we'll get started here. Let's turn some one-time customers into returning customers. And oh, it's going to ask me for this. And
I don't want to interrupt, Tim, but just so you know, you've got about 5 minutes to work with.
5 minutes worth. Okay, so I won't go into this then, because I don't think that's quite enough time for us to actually get past everything. Fast. But so instead of doing that, let me just stop screen sharing here. Instead of doing that, because it does take a few minutes to go through it, what I will recommend is we do have a demo on our website that it's a full demo of Smile of the back end, where we go through everything from like account creation to how you actually set up their points balance, how many points should you give versus what should those points be worth, that you can watch on demand. It's just a YouTube video. You don't need to sign up for a demo call or anything like that. We're not going to hound you. You can just watch it on demand whenever you want. But also, Smile has a completely free plan. So you can, on your Shopify store or BigCommerce or Wix or whatever you have, you can just install Smile and start playing around with it before you launch anything. It's free to get started, and you can do some of the custom branding stuff and just play around with it and see what works for you. You can do some calculations with your average order value to see, how many points should you give customers versus how much of those points should be worth. We typically recommend that the cashback value should be around 4 or 5% to make it beneficial for your customers, but you're not giving away the farm either. There's a term that I haven't talked about called, and the term is actually escaping me at the moment, where there's where basically you want to make sure that when you're telling customers that they should perform an action, that you're telling them that it's actually valuable. So instead of saying, follow some on social and get, half a cent back in points, you need to make it worth their while and give them enough points that it's even though it's easy for them to do, it's actually worth their while. There was some studies done at a hotel, actually, where as customers were leaving the hotel, they were either just said, "Thank you for your stay," or they were given a chocolate. And then that was the thank you, was a chocolate, either just a verbal thank you or a very small chocolate. And then they were asked, how thanked do you actually feel? And customers who received just the thank you actually said that they felt more thankful than the people that received the chocolate, because they knew the monetary value of the chocolate was just a couple cents. And so it felt really cheap. And so that's something that we often tell people to remember when they're setting up their loyalty program, is make sure that you're giving customers enough back that it feels valuable for them to actually perform the actions and to engage with your program, but you're not giving them so much that you're actually like losing money or you're cutting into your profits more than what you want to. I do see a question there. How can Smile and other loyalty programs be tailored for small brands that sell one or few higher price items? Our customers will buy with us and may not return for a year or more, since we have a small product line, higher price point, and durable good. That's a great question, and one that I get asked a lot, that our team gets asked a lot. It is harder when you have those higher priced items, larger average order value, and a lower purchase frequency. And generally, we tell people to kind of do what Tushy did, where if you have some smaller items, then make it valuable for customers to earn points so that they can come back and get those other items. Or it's, make it more of a referral based. So, they might not come back for a year, but maybe in that year, they can earn enough points through referrals and social engagement that they can get a heftier points or discount when they come back than they normally would have. So, make it so they can get 10, 20, 30% off a year from now, but they had to have referred you 5-6 customers or something like that. There's ways to game it. So even if you have that higher average order value and a lot less frequent purchase frequency, it's still valuable for your brand.
Tim, you're a rock star. You're doing half my job for me. I was gonna hit you with that question in between speakers, but you are on the ball. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Great story you ended off with. I love that about the chocolate. That's
cool. Always good to begin with chocolate.
I love it. Well, that's Tim, everybody. Tim, thanks so much for the time. We really, really, really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. And thank you to everyone in the App Collective. It's been awesome to be part of the group and see so many awesome technologies being showcased.
Thanks, Tim. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Awesome. Well, time for our last speaker of the day. We've got Peter, who's the CEO of Return Logic. Returns, obviously a growing concern in customer service. Feels like people are buying things with the intention of returning them with multiple sizes. And one of the things that I'm feeling very fortunate that I am not operating a brand is having to deal with returns. It seems like a logistical nightmare. When me and Peter were chatting last week, I learned so much about returns. I've never spoken to anybody who knows more about returns than Peter. So thrilled to have him on here to talk about returns generally and Return Logic in particular. Thanks for joining us, Peter. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Blair. Hey, I appreciate the opportunity. So yes, returns are and it's something most retailers don't like to talk about, but they're a pretty big problem for just about every retailer that sells anything online. Even if they don't take returns, they seem to take returns. So today, I just want to really share high level, just briefly talk about one of our successful case studies with one of our clients, as well as just dig in a little bit and maybe help provide a little bit of education around our solution, but more importantly, around the returns problem in general. So I find a lot of retailers don't fully know how to grasp what's happening. So I'm going to break the mold here a little bit and maybe try to, the last presentation overview is really get into this right now. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen here and get into sharing. So, all righty. Oops. So, all right, Blair, can you see my screen right now?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna just start with I'm gonna break the mold here a little bit, and I'm gonna share just a few slides, not a deck, so no one panic, but there's a few things I think everyone needs to be aware of about returns before I go into our product and demonstrate how we actually help retailers solve this problem. So I'm gonna go in and start with a very high level view of the fact that we now live in a returns economy. Like it or not, free shipping, free returns, these are entry-level tickets to modern e-commerce. We know returns are a ticking time bomb. Just Google it, see what's going on, and this problem is not going away anytime soon. And if you look at some of the dates and when I pull this up, this going back to 2014, some of these articles. So this is the main point of what I wanted to share before I get into it. Returns damage a customer experience, and today's theme is all about the customer experience. So everyone here on this call is working very, very hard to drive retention and lifetime value, but returns has the capability to erode all that instantly. And it's not shipping labels, it's not boxes, it's about lifetime value, and all the effort that went into get and retain a customer goes out the door because of one poor experience. Such as many returns could be prevented. And that's the point, that retailers control their destiny, and that in general, retailers can do their best to minimize returns. And these are some extreme examples, but these are things I found on the internet. And I think this is another big point, which is fashion apparel is probably taking the biggest brunt of that, from a lot of wardrobing, potentially friendly fraud, bookending, you name it, but getting fashion products, size, color, fit are very, very big challenges. And the takeaway that all of us should have is that retailers are truly stuck in a difficult position. They got to decide between making returns super easy or protecting the bottom line. And that's exactly where this battle happens, which is what is enough to invest to add friction versus out giving away everything and actually getting abused by your very customers, the shoppers. So we've broken it down into 3 pillars of returns management: automation, visibility, and optimization. And that's where the presentation ends. And I'm going to get into our product and show you everyone how we handle those types of scenarios. So here's our test store. It's a Shopify store like everyone has probably on this call. And a lot of retailers that we talk to, in particular, if we're going to zero in on one problem, fashion apparel, the retailer we're working with on this particular problem, every time they introduce a new product and they have a lot of seasonality, the return rate can go up dramatically. And that's always a risk when you release a new product, that you don't really know what's going to happen, manufacturing defect and other problems, that it can really drive returns in a way that was unexpected. So we really like to help retailers understand what are the metrics they can collect, how they use this information to improve their products, and most importantly, how do we introduce products and get alert right away if there's a problem with one of the things that can drive returns. In this case, the retailer we were working with changed the fabric of one of their products, and suddenly they had a massive returns problem from one of their best-selling products. So that's a great example of, just a subtle change can lead to a very, very different outcome. And what we've noticed, particularly on Shopify, if I'll pull up one more slide, this is what a typical returns process looks like for a Shopify retailer. Extremely manual, lots of steps, lots of Google spreadsheets involved, cutting and pasting, and a lot of friction and no communication. This is what we were looking to help our retailers solve, and we can take a process like this and streamline it down to a process like this. And that hits one of the first pillars, which is automation. So if this is a typical retailer website, and this is our test site, West End, we sell women's apparel. Very typically, you go to the bottom of a page, you see the returns link, and most retailers will have email me to start a return. That's a very manual process, which actually causes a lot of friction for both the shopper and the retailer. So our first order of business is to introduce a self-service returns portal that allows a retailer to not just gatekeep, but also cut down on all those emails. How do I do an exchange? How do I do a refund? Which, by the way, is why we also partnered with Zendesk and Gorgeous to really cut down on those types of emails, because 1 in 3 emails into a retailer is about a return. So the first order of business is let's remove those manual processes. So you can see on our test store, we dramatically reduced all the information that would be here. But most importantly, it's click to start a return. And at this point, you would be on our technology. Everything from this point forward could be customized and branded. So again, it's a demo store, so take that with a grain of salt. But I'm going to walk through one of the processes of how a shopper would engage with our product. So everyone right now, put on your shopper hat. You're hitting a website. You enter your email. You enter your order number. And not surprisingly, based on an Amazon-like returns experience, first thing we do is we validate the address. We've noticed a lot of people move, change locations. They like to not tell the retailer. So if you process an exchange, there's a good chance you could be sending it out to the wrong location. So we like to make sure we give the shopper the opportunity to update that information. That then pulls up all the items that were in the order. You can see I already did one test order. So this is the beginning of gatekeeping. If someone returned an item, it was tagged as final sale, non-returnable, so forth. We can support all those workflows and rules, which tend to bog down a retailer and create a lot of manual processes. So I would demonstrate, go through, pick an item, typical to small. Notice we actually introduced something called secondary return reasons. So not just too small isn't good enough. We're on a mission to collect data and help retailers solve this. So really it's zeroed in on at secondary reasons, too small in chest, for example. I'm going to just put some tests in here. We also allow the retailer to actually turn on or off collecting images. So in this case, I'm going to say it's too small in chest, and I'm actually going to upload a picture of, well, it's too small in the chest. So this is a really a good demonstration of how we're on a quest to help the retailer reduce manual tasks, but at the same time, not add too much friction. So we would recommend anytime a return is due to quality, always collect a picture, damage as well, but maybe not so much with requiring it here. So this is, I have the setting on optional. We allow exchanges, store credits, refunds, even warranties. But most retailers struggle with exchanges on Shopify because it's very, very complicated. But the point being, it is possible to have a 30-day exchange, 90-day store credit, 60-day refund, and a 1-year warranty. Supporting all those at the same time can be a huge burden to a retailer. So again, we're trying to cut down on the manual tasks. And our mission is to make returns easy for the retailer, not necessarily easy for the shopper. That's the job of the retailer, to introduce as much friction as they want. So I'm going to go ahead and do a refund. Pretty simple. This case, we're deducting the price of the label from the refund. So we often advise our retailers, if a customer is going to do a refund, deduct the shipping cost, still give them a label, but take it off, and incentivize them with, if they're going to do an exchange, give them a free shipping label. So again, it's trying to drive retention and a better experience, but it's also at the same time protect the retailer from abuse and friendly fraud. Pretty simple. Just hit next. Shopper now. We generate the return. We have a tracking page, so a retailer could go, a shopper could always go in and actually get an updated status. We let them know what they're returning, and with one click, they can print the shipping label that goes on the box. And we also have a barcode that goes inside the box, so it can be reconciled very, very efficiently inside the retailer or the 3PL, depending how they're connected. But essentially, that would complete this process here that I showed. We just went through the shopper experience up here, the journey of going through these steps. And we boil that down to basically email, order, click, click, done. So very, very efficient. We're supporting the workflows. We're supporting all the policies the retailers have, and we're actually reducing friction and manual tasks, and that resulted in no emails at customer service. So if anyone on this call is on the front lines of customer service, you're doing a manual returns process, I would highly recommend you use some level of automation, because it will dramatically cut down the number of emails that you get. All right, I will change gears. Let's put on our hats, and let's say now we're the customer service agent or whoever's in charge of the retailer to actually process returns. So this is an inside view of our product. And basically, when a retailer logs in, this is the dashboard that they see, and it shows all the statuses, authorized, processed, so forth, of all the returns. We can see the return that I just did as a refund, but obviously we support exchanges, third-party warranties, and so forth. So even if a shopper didn't buy an item from a Shopify store, we can still facilitate that return in our platform. So again, making it highly extensible and actually really trying to meet the retailer's needs of, a lot of retailers sell on multiple marketplaces, and we want to make sure that they can still handle returns no matter where they came from. So pretty easy. If you're the customer service agent, instead of all these clicks and manual processes, pretty simple. You can come in, you can see what item is being returned. You can see the picture that I uploaded. Clearly it's too small in chest. I have a picture that confirms it. At your fingertips as an agent, you can see the original order. You can see the actual return information, when it was authorized. We even show you at your fingertips the return label, what the cost is of that label, and customer information down to how much they've purchased, how much they've returned. And we score each customer because that adds to another level of automation as we're beginning to track lifetime value and help understand the behavior of shoppers. So from a customer service point of view, we're going to take about 10 steps down to one, which is let's go and approve this. Let's hit process. And just like that, your shopper now gets an email saying, we've received your return. It's now complete. We've issued a refund. And if you were to log in Shopify, you would see that transaction would be pushed right back out through the gateway that they made the payment in. So we're not using any external systems or so forth. So super easy. So what I just demonstrated to everyone was we took this process, and what I just showed everyone was we brought it down to this, just 3 clicks. 3 clicks from the shopper, 3 clicks from the e-commerce customer service team, and the automation problem in the first 2 pillars that I showed you on that deck are now effectively solved. But there's always more to the puzzle. So a lot of retailers also have to do dispositions where they actually receive the item and they have to restock it and put it back on the shelf. So we've actually added additional flexibility into our platform where we allow retailers to actually acquire products, set a disposition, restock it, acquire it. And basically the mission here is once the product is received and we solve the customer experience, let's get that product back on the shelves as quickly as possible because it is inventory that's the value is decaying. So we want to make sure the stock turn is very fast. And we work with a lot of 3PLs via direct integration, either our API, or in some cases, retailers do this in-house and a same team does it. But the point is, we want to make this process as efficient as possible. So returns is not just about a box and a label, it's about the logistics and the movement across the company to get that product back to be a resellable position. So at the same time, we provide actionable reports and insights. So everything in our products can be downloaded, and a lot of retailers that love spreadsheets and pivot tables, they can have at it and they can download reports around anything that is inside the platform, refunds, exchanges, and so forth. So for the retailers though that don't necessarily want to be pivot table gods, we actually have the third pillar in our product, which we call IQ. And it's our baseline analytics product where we allow a retailer very quickly on any time frame, 30, 60, 90 days, custom, to instantly go in and they can track how much they've sold, what their return rate is, and we begin to project out, if they make no changes, how much money they're going to lose over time. That usually gets retailers' interest. But it's also interesting to see what the return rate is over a period of time. Is it trending in the right direction? So along with that, we provide underperforming customers to take a peek at who's returning, what their return rate is. But this is a very interesting one where we also show common reasons. And most retailers zero right in on too big, too small. But interesting enough, quality is actually usually the biggest one that detracts from lifetime value. So contrarian as returns are, when a retailer usually sees too big as 30% of all their returns, but quality is 5%, they always want to fix the too big problem. But we would recommend focus on the quality issue because quality returns cause churn. Too big, usually they want an exchange. And if you're really focused on the bottom line, ironically, the 30% return problem of too big is not nearly as damaging as the 5% problem of quality. That's the takeaway from the data that we've seen. But we also break it down, help a retailer understand if they're selling in different categories, what the returns rate are. So for example, the return rate for dresses or different products can have very, very different return rates. So it's not just your overall company return rate you should be focused in on, it's what's the average return rate for jackets, for bottoms, for tops. And then you can look at products within those categories to see if they're actually within expectations. So going back to our vendor, when they released that new product and change of fabric, it shot from a 22% return rate to more like a 40% return rate. And it was a very itchy and uncomfortable fabric. Because they were a direct-to-consumer brand, they could right away go back to the factory, in their case, Vietnam, have that product changed, and they didn't have to keep selling it, perpetuating the problem. They could react very, very quickly based on actionable insights and data. So we take it one step further. We help a retailer also understand all the products in their catalog. So we rank them not just by what the return rate is, but also by what their returns velocity is, the price of the item, what they have in stock. And we're really trying to help a retailer get visibility into what is the real products that damage their bottom line. And I'll just quickly pull up a product that you can see. This is our second highly most returned product. The company average is 40%. This particular product line is 51%. Very quickly, we can see all the reasons a product is being returned, but most importantly, we can also see the customer comments and the reasons. So here, and again, please take in mind, this is a demo site with demo data, but in the real world, you'd be very surprised at how much information an unhappy shopper is willing to share with you to help you fix your products. So we want to make sure our retailers get that information and they can actually make it actionable. We also can show, this is a very interesting one. You can see in this case, not all variants are the same. So when we're working with retailers, we would have them zero in, not just at a certain category, but even within there, we find that different colors and different sizes could have different return rates. And if you go even further back, it could often be that they're produced in different factories and it could be out of tolerance. So a lot of times it's not the retailer's fault per se. I mean, they own the returns problem, but sometimes the service level agreements with the vendors they work with can be out of spec and the retailer doesn't know it. We can provide them information to help zero in on why that product is actually being returned and what to do about it. So that is the core of our product. It's built upon the 3 pillars. We call it Originate, Collector, and IQ. And kind of as I started out, that matches pretty closely to the 3 pillars of returns: automation, visibility, and optimization. And if we take it one step further, kind of the bonuses that we work with our larger retailers that have, I think, more challenging problems, we actually provide much, much more deep analytics, and we can get into very specific things and talk about A/B testing, everything from what's the most profitable return policy, 30, 60, 90 days. We can make comparisons for different, not just different verticals, but when they introduce products and over different timeframes. So we provide an advanced analytics reporting that we help retailers truly understand why products are returned, what's the impact of their policies, and all that leads to the bottom line. So it's not about reducing returns or minimizing returns. The fact is, every retailer will get returns. The real challenge here is, what is a normal return rate for my company, and how do I maximize my profitability? And that's what Return Logic does as a collective tool and platform. We help retailers be the best versions and most profitable versions of what they can be. And we do that in the most efficient manner by supporting them on the front end. We provide connections with integrations such as Gorgeous, Zendesk, and the many 3PLs we work with. And then we provide data and actionable insights to help them understand why things are happening and how to actually make improvements across their supply chain. So that's Return Logic in a nutshell. And I guess that wraps it up, Blair.
That was incredible, Peter. Thanks so much. I know at least Sandy in the chat was really impressed with your diagram outlining the automated return process for Shopify merchants. So if you're down, we're going to try to get them a copy of that, and anybody else who wants it. Return Logic team will be in the Discord for anybody that has any additional questions, but that concludes speakers for the day. Thanks so much, Peter. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate everybody who came today. This was a great first event. As I mentioned kind of throughout, this is just kind of the first in a series of events that we're going to be doing. Next Tuesday, we're going to be doing an event on conversion and merchandising, and then logistics next week. This was an absolute blast. I know we had a lot of fun putting it together, and I hope that everybody who attended got something out of it. Make sure to hang out in the Discord. Like I said, that Discord is kind of not tied to these particular events, although they are kind of the main place to discuss, but we'll be continuing past these events as well throughout the rest of the year and beyond. So as you guys are getting ready for the holiday season, make sure to jump in there and chat with as many merchants as you can. If any of these talks resonated, whether that was Peter, Chloe, Chris, Kunal, Molly, is that everybody? Or Peter last, they'll be in the Discord as well. So make sure you go in there. I don't know if anybody else on the organizing team here has anything to add, but that's it for me.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us today. It was an awesome first day. I know we had some interesting learnings as far as the break and some tech issues. And thanks for all hanging out with us as we're figuring out the first day. We're going to be sending out an email as a follow-up with the recorded session. So if you wanted to rewatch your session or catch up on any sessions that you missed today, those will be sent out tomorrow as a follow-up. I also posted the link to the YouTube, so you can go back and watch it today if you wanted to, if you were feeling excited about it. And we will see you next Tuesday. So thanks for everybody's time. Roddy, did you have anything that you wanted to say, or are we good to close?
I was just going to close out and say a huge thank you to Blair as well for steering us through this and being our master of ceremonies for the first edition of the App Collective. And thank you to everybody who joined us here today. That's it.
Awesome. One last thing, go to the appcollective.us for the future events. Make sure you register, get in early. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.
See ya.